Hello and welcome on France 24. I'm Clarisse Fortuné and this is Eye on Africa, our top stories. Death toll is expected to rise in the DRC and people are still missing. After an overcrowded boat capsized on Lake Kivu, at least 78 people are known to have drowned. And meanwhile, after many delays, a major Mpox vaccination is set to begin as the outbreak is getting worse and the number of cases in the capital, Kinshasa, is increasing. Land invasions in Zimbabwe were a thing of the past under former President Robert Mugabe. Today, foreign and local farmers are to be compensated with an initial payment of $20 million. In the DRC, dozens of people have drowned and many more are missing after a boat capsized on Thursday morning, just a few hundred meters from the shore of Lake Kivu. An accident which is one too many on the country's waterways. Emmett Livingston in Kinshasa has more.
On Thursday in eastern DR Congo, a ferry crossing Lake Kivu capsized less than a kilometre from the port of Goma. Terrifying footage of the accident was shared on social media, showing the overcrowded boat flip on its side while coming into port and then capsizing. Passengers had only seconds to jump off. Dozens of people died in the accident, but the exact death toll still isn't clear. One official said that the boat was run by a private operator and that it didn't have a ship's manifest, and so it's impossible to tell how many people were aboard when it went down. Fatal boat accidents are depressingly common in DR Congo, where travelling by river or across lakes is a necessity for many because of nearly non-existent roads. In June, about 80 people drowned when an overloaded boat sank near the capital Kinshasa in western Congo. The Congolese authorities regularly promise to tighten maritime rules, but accidents keep occurring.
As Mpox continues to spread in Africa, Ghana has recorded its first confirmed case. The patient is a young boy from the Western North region, about 500 kilometers from the capital, Accra. The child has since been discharged and is in a stable condition, but officials are still monitoring 25 people who were in contact with him. And meanwhile, from away from Ghana, at the epicenter of the disease, a major vaccination campaign is finally set to kick off this weekend in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Mpox outbreak has killed nearly 1,000 people there and infected more than 30,000 since the start of 2024. Health Minister says they will start vaccinating adults.
Tomorrow, when we launch the vaccine from Goma, we'll immediately bring it to South Kivu, because South Kivu is the most affected province. And we'll try to vaccinate adults first, because the vaccine we have received is already licensed for adults. And of course, there's research that suggests it can also be used in children under 17. But for the moment, given the number of doses we have, we'll start with adults.
And they are called the forgotten victims of the war in Lebanon, domestic workers who find themselves alone after the departure of death of their employers. The Ministry of Labour estimates that there are 250,000 domestic workers, many of them from African countries. Our colleagues at France 34 Observateurs obtained the testimony of the domestic worker from Sierra Leone, and she's currently taking refuge in a flat in Beirut with around 60 other domestic workers.
But this bomb incident was on Monday. I was working in Sue. They hit the bomb on Monday. The place that I was working, my madam and my mister, they passed away. They sent me out to go and buy something from the supermarket because the place from the supermarket was not too far. When I came, I stand by the supermarket. I saw the house fell down because when they dropped the bomb, the fragment of the bomb made the house to shake and to fall. My madam and my mister was there. There are so many of us. We don't have a work right now. I don't have a job. I don't have a place to stay. Only in my friend's house. I don't have any money with me.
It was former Zimbabwe President Robert Mugabe's mission to redistribute the land to undo the racist inheritance of colonial rule. It became a lawless grab for power and wealth that nearly destroyed the country. Today, the Zimbabwean government said it will pay an initial $20 million to foreign white and local black farmers who lost land in farm invasions. It's seen as an effort by current President Emmerson Mnangagwa to resolve the country's huge foreign debt and revive its economy. From Harare, Nyasha Shinguno explains. 。
In a move that is expected to better relations with the West following 20-plus years of frosty relations, the Zimbabwean government will begin to make compensation for farm owners who lost land in the 2000 land grab. The farmers, who belong to a special group of private investors from Europe and some local farmers, will begin to be paid this month, according to the Minister of Finance. The compensation will begin in October until December, according to the Minister. Government says they had been engaged in a verification process to make sure that the farmers are well deserving. Zimbabwe has been in the throes of economic turmoil since the year 2000, when it defaulted payments to international financial institutions. According to data from Treasury, Zimbabwe owes nearly $12 billion to international financial institutions. The country has not been able to access loans from the World Bank or the IMF. Zimbabwe believes that paying these farmers will help unlock new lines of credit. Zimbabwe is also owing a group of former commercial farmers about $3.5 billion in a deal that was signed 4 years ago. According to the debt restructuring program that is ongoing, Zimbabwe is supposed to pay and compensate these farmers for it to be able to engage in meaningful talks with creditors.
Hundreds of Ghanaians have taken to the streets of Accra as part of a 3-day protest against illegal gold mining known as Galamsey. We are also calling for the release of 54 activists. The government's handling of Galamsey, and particularly its impact on natural resources, has become a key issue as the country prepares itself for the upcoming presidential elections in December. Clémence Valère has more.
They are hundreds calling for the immediate end of illegal gold mining in Ghana and the release of 54 anti-Galamsey activists. Walking through the streets of Accra, many displayed bottles of polluted water from the Pra and Birim rivers, two of the biggest in the West African nation, to highlight the devastating environmental impact of illegal mining.
This is poisoned water. It's going to get to everyone, right? And we already don't have a proper healthcare system. Do we really want to play this game?
Known as Galamsey, the mining practice has plagued the country for decades, destroying the environment, polluting crucial drinking water sources, and endangering livelihoods. The situation is deemed so severe that, according to the Institute for Security Studies, Ghana could end up importing drinking water by 2030. The government handling of Galamsey has become a flashpoint issue that will play a big role in the December presidential election.
Sorry, but I'm tempted to use this word. To hell with your policies, to hell with your flagship programs and all. What are they when we do not have basic drinking water?
When President Nana Akufo-Addo took office in 2017, he vowed to make the fight against Galamsey his top priority. That same year, he set up the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, chaired by the Environment Minister. Since then, several operations have been launched to arrest illegal miners and seize their equipments, with little effect. Ghana's labor unions have announced a nationwide strike for October 10th to force authorities to take urgent action.
It remains a taboo in many countries. In the DR Congo, many girls skip class because of stigma surrounding menstruation and a lack of sanitary facilities in schools. One NGO, Movement Alert, is trying to break these taboos among school children using a comic strip. Emmett Livingston, Aurélie Bazara-Kibongula have the story.
In this classroom in Kinshasa, Anita tries to break down taboos concerning menstruation.
When you'll get older, you will have periods. And when that will happen, you should not feel ashamed.
She's fighting clichés using a comic called Konku. It tells the story of a teenage boy who helps his sister while she has her period. Armed with the comic, Anita can explain to pupils what happens to girls' bodies once they reach puberty.
They can't go into the same showers. They can't touch the utensils. Why? Because they're menstruating. Because it's believed that menstruation, that blood, makes a woman impure and can make anything she touches impure, when it's not true.
In this setting, school children can ask any questions without embarrassment. The back and forth is frank and direct. In DR Congo, having your period at school is all too often seen as something to be ashamed of. Louise and her friends say that they've witnessed girls being ridiculed.
When my friend went to the blackboard to write, her uniform was stained, and the boys laughed, saying she's a dirty girl, that she's dirty, she gets red things on her skirt, and she's dirty. She cried and left the room.
Girls face taboos, but also practical hindrances. The school is almost derelict, and the sanitary facilities are out of order. According to the school headmaster, many girls skip classes every month because of their periods.
When a girl takes 4 days off, she misses classes. In our secondary school, there are 7 hours of lessons a day. So over 4 or 5 days, it is a lot. It has an influence on her schooling.
The NGO hopes to distribute its Congo comic book to every school in Kinshasa and raise awareness among pupils and parents alike. In DR Congo, only 1 woman in 2 has access to sanitary products.
And this concludes our edition of Eye on Africa. Thank you for watching.